We're here with Brian Westbrook. We're going viral. Brought to you by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. The Pacers and Kings will play a pair of preseason games in India this weekend. Just say the Pacers are flying in style. Forward TJ Leaf gave us a little glimpse of what the trip was like. I'd fly to India and back round trip in a day if it was like that.
Listen, these NBA teams, Mark Cuban kind of set the template with that.
Nice.
Is that their normal team plane, though? Because there is a guy out of Los Angeles has the jumbo, because we took one of those to Israel with the crabs. Like, I don't know if that's their normal team plane.
So
Trekked out like that. That's the one they took on this trip.
NBA has it on a different level. This is how you travel in style and class right there.
Yeah, you got 41 road dates. You got to do something like that.
Because the Mavericks do have a plane similar to this, where they redid the whole inside. I don't know if the Pacers do or not.
Yeah,
yeah, that's nice.
Typically, they can't stay in the air that long, those types of planes. You need a little bit bigger than
When I was playing the Eagles, they ain't had a plane like that. I'll tell you that. We had the regular rows and
the Vikings, man, we had it going on. Northwest. Really? Whatever they had available.
See, I got breaking news from our news desk.
What?
Confirmed, not their team plane. It's what you said. Good job. I'm confirming your story. Confirming your report.
Just another day.
Just another day. Confirmed. Appreciate that. Our correspondent in Indianapolis on the ground.
On to the Cowboys. Now, we know that's not true. Dak Prescott has carried Dallas to a 3-1 record, good for first place in the NFC East. The quarterback is on pace to set career highs in passing yards and touchdowns. Good timing when you're asking for a record-setting contract extension. And though Dak is missing a Lombardi Trophy, Hall of Famer Brett Favre thinks he's awfully close.
He's not as flashy, but he's very consistent. He's got everything you could ask for: size, strength, arm strength. The guys love him. He plays hard. He plays smart. I think he's a legitimate long-time quarterback, barring injury. And at some point, I do believe that he'll lead that team to a Super Bowl.
You think Brett Favre is right, Brian? Do you think he's close to leading the Cowboys to a Super Bowl?
Well, I think Brett saw what everyone in the world has seen, that through the first 3 games, we've seen some improvement from Dak Prescott. We've seen a quarterback that went from a situation last year when you're asking him to throw the football, we really didn't know what we were going to get. We saw some improvement, but I also think he saw the 4th game against the Saints where Dak didn't look the same. That offense just didn't look the same. And so he's seeing some improvement, but he also didn't say they were going to win this year. And that means to me that he's saying even though he's improved, he has still a ways to go before he gets to the point where you can say he's going to win a Super Bowl. To me, it's simple. In the NFL, you have a small window. The offensive line is in their prime. Obviously, Tyron Smith coming back, that's going to help him out a little bit. Zeke in his prime. This receiving core, Cooper, obviously. Cobb, he's a little bit older, but Gallup is getting better. Cooper is in his prime as well. These guys are ready to win right now. And I think that when you say Dak has to improve a lot more before they can win, that may be outside of that window. At some point, they're going to pay Dak $35 million per year. And when you do that, it's hard to get guys to come in on that team to help you compete, as Joe Flacco in Baltimore, as Drew Brees in New Orleans. It's hard to get guys to help you win, free agent-wise, guys that you pay after you pay your quarterback. They have to win pretty quickly because that window is closing.
Yeah, the window in the NFL is closing. So let's just do this. Let's just look over the next 2 years. If Brett Favre had said over the next 2 years, I believe that because we got Drew Brees and we still got Brady still playing. But after that, who do you think as a franchise quarterback? Because I can go down the list. Let's go AFC East. Any of the quarterbacks are going to take their team to the Super Bowl? No. Let's go AFC North. Baker Mayfield and maybe Lamar, because Baltimore's going to support him. Let's go to AFC South.
Only Deshaun's the only one that has a shot.
They don't even have a general manager.
Correct.
We don't believe they have the coach to build support him. So we'll say no. AFC West, Patty Mahomes, homeboy, he's the only one there. NFC East, there's 2 quarterbacks. Carson Wentz, the Brett Favre could say that about, and Dak Prescott. Let's go to NFC North. Outside that, Aaron Rodgers, 2 more years. Anyone else in there?
No.
No. Let's go NFC South. Anyone in there? No. Let's go NFC West. Anyone in there? Russell.
Golf, if you depending.
The reason why I did that is because there's only a handful of guys that you can literally say that. After Brady and after Brees leave, who are the quarterbacks that you can say they're going to win their franchise a championship? Dak is one of those quarterbacks. And let's look at his rookie year. Oh, who won the Super Bowl? Brady. Next year, Nick Foles in a tremendous win in overtime wins. His third year, Brady wins another one. So I believe that Dak and the Cowboys, they're on the right track. He has a lot of the intangibles that we as players like in the quarterback. He's going to make good decisions off the football field. He's always going to say the right things in the press conference. And if there's someone to blame, he seems as if he understands that even when he's not to blame, he's going to take blame. And those are the types of skills. It's not about passing all the time. It's not about reading defenses all the time. All those other attributes, Dak Prescott does have them.
I don't mean to sound like our friend Coach Mangini here, but I need to see it first. Yeah. And by that, I mean this. Dallas, Washington, Detroit, Tampa. Those 4 teams have one thing in common. They are the only 4 teams in the NFC this decade to not even make a conference championship game. 16 teams in that conference. 12 of them have at least been a game away from the Super Bowl, if not in it. Tampa, Detroit, Washington, and America's team, Dallas, are the only 4 teams in that conference to not even be like, we are a win away from being Super Bowl champions. They've been a few steps away. Now, Dak's rookie year, 13-3, and they were in that divisional round. Last year, they win the division, and they win a playoff game and get to that divisional round. And you mentioned, the quarterbacks that we know that you're not, the division's going by AFC up and down. Other than Mahomes, maybe Watson, who do you believe in? NFC, to me, though, you do have Wentz. Rodgers didn't go anywhere. Russell Wilson's still there. You mentioned a couple more years of Drew Brees. If we are going to say what quarterbacks you believe in, he might be in the wrong conference in that regard. Because if Dak was sitting there in the AFC East instead of the NFC East, you would say he's the heir apparent. But when we don't even know if he is the heir apparent in his own division, that to me makes it a lot tougher.
But he has the offensive line.
Yeah. Yes.
He has a wide receiver.
Absolutely.
He's got the running back. You go to the AFC with nothing? What if I send him to Jacksonville? Even though you might think, oh, he's higher on the tier, but he's still not.
His team's not as good.
No, he's still not going to get close to a Super Bowl.
When I watch this football team, it's interesting because they facing Green Bay this week. Carson Wentz had a bad game against Detroit week 3, came back and shredded Green Bay's defense just a bit, especially in the second half. Dak has that opportunity. Not a great game this past week, week 4. He has an opportunity to go against a defense that is aggressive off the edges, but he can get after him just a bit in that secondary. And listen, you got to win these games now because after week 10, you got to think about this. You have Minnesota, good defense. Detroit, good defense. The New England Patriots, good defense. Buffalo, and all these teams have the ability to get after the quarterback. Dak has to develop as a quarterback. All those intangible things are great. You still have to be able to throw the football down the field, connect with your receivers. And defenses are simple. They're going to say, listen, we're going to stop Ezekiel Elliott. We're going to put 8 guys in the box, and if you're going to beat us, it's going to have to be on the shoulder of your quarterback. And can he get it done consistently week after week? He has to prove that.
Well, that last part's the most important part. Even though Dak came out the first game of the season, 4 touchdowns, perfect pass rating, 400 yards passing, teams, I believe, still think when they're getting ready to play the Dallas Cowboys, if we can stop Zeke, they can't win. And the history of that team says they are correct. They're 1-8 when Zeke doesn't go for 75 yards rushing in games that he plays in. The only win was that week 1 game when Zeke was on a pitch count, when you're playing the Giants, and Dak has the best regular season game of his career. Dak is going to have ample opportunity to prove to the world he can beat you if you shut down Zeke. We'll see if he can.
There's the only thing I don't like about that stat about Dak and Zeke.
Yep.
When the offensive line plays bad, because Zeke's not running bad, all right? When you don't have productivity, you got too many different color jerseys in the backfield. That's right. So we say every time Zeke doesn't play well, which means the offensive line didn't play well. Do you think they were pass protecting well in that game?
Probably not.
So they play bad rushing the ball. They play bad throwing the football. So that's a stat you have to be careful with because it's dependent upon the offensive line. I don't see a whole bunch of offensive linemen after the game. They say, you know something, bro? I was nice pass protection, but I really wasn't good run blocking. They run hand in hand. So when that offensive line does not play well, you know what? Zeke or Dak does not play well.
It's a similar conversation like we have with the Rams, with Jared Goff and with Todd Gurley, and where Goff's play drops off when Gurley isn't as productive. But the one thing that Dak Prescott has more than any other quarterback in the league is support from every single member of that organization. Nobody wants him to succeed more than Jerry Jones. He has all the intangibles as a leader on and off the field. All he needs to do now is go out and prove that he can be a good quarterback, and he'll probably get his $35 million. Brian, thanks so much for joining us today.
A lot of money.
Take a break. It is a lot. Coming up, which All-Pro wide receiver is CeCe calling out in a rap battle? That's next on First.
Rapping CeCe.